Check out my book, Humble Homes, Simple Shacks, DIY Concepts with Tiny Houses, Tree Houses, and Cabins at Amazon.com. Also coming up, we have a hands-on, all hands-on building workshop in the Boston, Massachusetts area, October 25th and the 26th. And if you'd be so kind, we're doing a build collectively with the Cub Scouts to teach them some skills, building a tiny cabin out of recycled materials, relaxshacks.com if you want to donate.
This is Ethan Waldman, and I am going to give you a tour of my tiny house on wheels. My house is roughly 210 square feet if you count the sleeping loft, but the footprint of the house is about 20 feet by about 7.5 feet. So the actual footprint is a little bit less than 200 square feet. It's more like 160 something. One more thing before we go on our tour. I just finished putting together a big resource guide called Tiny House Decisions. If you are interested in building a tiny house or adopting the tiny lifestyle, Tiny House Decisions will help you answer all those big and little questions that you'll have along the way, from researching to planning to building, even to moving in. So for viewers of this video, I am offering a 15% off coupon code. All you have to do is go to thetinyhouse.net and use the coupon code RELAXSHACKS at checkout. Again, that's thetinyhouse.net. Click on Tiny House Decisions and use the coupon code RELAXSHACKS. Alright, let's get on with the tour. Here on the outside of the house, you'll notice that I built a porch onto it. That was because I wanted some covered space, like a space to come in and fumble for my keys while it's raining, etc. I also really like the fact that I can open this window up here. It's an awning style window, and I kept that window open pretty much all summer because, you know, to help the house have some air, and it was completely protected from the rain and other elements. So walking around the house, you'll see that it's a fairly typical tiny house on wheels. I chose to dormer out in the loft area so that way I could have more headroom up there. I'm just gonna kind of back up a little bit. Give you the full view of the house. There you go. So the siding is all local pine and cedar. So the shiplap siding that's runs up until the loft is pine, and then up in the loft those are cedar shingles, and then the roof is standing seam, so it's metal. Around the back here you can see that there is a small storage container for the propane tanks on the tongue of the trailer. You can see another one of those loft windows, and then coming around, this is actually the back of the house, although it faces forward where I have it currently parked, but I wanted the front to face that pond. There are fewer windows over here, and also some of the ventilation pieces for the stove and the refrigerator. One little special feature to show you before we go inside is that I built a secret cat door into this house. So inside of this box on the porch is a cat door. Now, we don't have a cat here at the tiny house, but I figured that if we ever did bring a cat here, we could either put the litter box in this storage area, or we could cut a hole in this storage box so that way the cat could get in and out without, you know, meowing at the door. And then once you're inside the house, that cat door actually lets out right into this little space here. So it's a secret cat door, secret cat in the secret tiny house, except we don't really have a cat. So anyhow, we'll move inside. I will take off my shoes. So the floors in here are cherry, hardwood floors, and immediately upon walking in you'll see this long couch bench. We call it the bench, and that's the main seating in the tiny house. It's also where somebody could sleep in the event that we had a guest overnight, and a couple people have slept on it and said that it's quite comfortable. And then underneath here we have storage for shoes and boots, which is important in Vermont. And then in the other two bays we have big baskets where we keep you know, winter jackets and other things like that. So there's really a lot of storage space under there. And now let's turn. So across from the bench, we've got, well, first of all, ever important guitar on the wall next to an IKEA Norbo folding table. And that's actually mounted at standing desk height. So I've got a couple of stools for eating, and then I stand when I work, and this is where I work. So moving into the cabin, we've got the Newport Dickinson heater that is currently not operational, so I have the chimney off, and I've been working on it, but in the meantime, I get my heat using a radiant panel made by DeLonghi, and it works quite well. So the kitchen is definitely one of my favorite parts of my tiny house. I made it rather large because I do like to cook. I love to eat. Who doesn't? So in this kitchen, you've got a full-size double sink, a nice faucet that extends, the spritzer there. It's big enough to put the drainer in the other sink. And then moving around here, we've got a small but very functional Wedgwood Vision 3-burner propane range and a range hood. And then I opted for cabinets, so you can see there's one special cabinet here that opens upwards, but most of them open out, so you know, you can see where I keep my drinking glasses and mason jars. One cool feature about this kitchen is that the drawers are full depth, so they really come out quite far. It's hard to see, but yeah, there you go. The drawers are quite deep, so I can really store a lot of stuff. I've got this one monster drawer down here where I keep some larger pots and odds and ends and things. And close that up. Moving back into the house, we've got a propane refrigerator. A small unit, but it works pretty well. And then above the refrigerator is a propane detection system. And then above that is what we're calling the pantry. Now this is kind of unfinished. It does need some doors or a curtain, but I recently built roll-out shelves for this pantry as well. So you know, you can pull this out and access your organic sugar cones. Definitely a necessity. Of course, over on the sink side, this is where all the kind of utilities are. So in this cabinet, we've got utility, you know, storage of extra toilet paper and cleaning stuff. And then below that is a water tank, unused currently. Over on this side, we've got a precision temp on-demand hot water heater. And then you can see all of the plumbing guts in there. Maybe you can't see it, but all the PEX plumbing is back there. And you can't leave the kitchen without seeing the ever important tiny bar. This was a housewarming gift from my aunt, and it is just, it's too precious to drink, so I just keep it there. So moving to the bathroom, first of all, we've got a sliding door between the kitchen and the bathroom, so I'll close that up. And I'll back up, and you can check that out. There you go. And then moving into the bathroom, we've got our standard Humanor style composting toilet that is not needing to be shown to you, but if you've seen a tiny house before, you know what these things look like and how they work. And then over here, what I think is a rather unique feature of my house is the shower that is sided with copper roofing shingles from Zappone Manufacturing. And you can see that those roofing shingles are actually patinaing and tarnishing up very nicely. And then the floor of the shower is blue stone slate. So that is the tiny house. I can show you another view here. Just down the hallway, out into the whole house. And the last thing is that we can go up into the loft for a brief tour up there. Okay, up the ladder we go. So this is the loft. It's a queen-sized futon mattress, and it's really comfortable. The nice part about being up here is that there are windows all around, so you really almost feel like you're sleeping outside, especially in the summer when you can open these up and get all that fresh air in. And then I will just turn right around and show you the loft closets. So on one side, we've got just a black iron pipe as a clothes hanging bar with some baskets underneath. And then on the other side, we've got 3 shelves. So those tend to work pretty well. And then, of course, the last thing to talk about is across the way there, we've got the storage loft. And in the corner there, that thing that says BAL is actually an air exchange system. So that's pulls fresh air in from outside and crosses currents with the inside air, and it tries to heat it up. So that's how we get fresh air in the winter in the tiny house. So this has been a tour of my tiny house.